Welcome to another episode of My Hoard of Hobbies. Today we are going to look at a piece I am developing that I intend to call Old Friends. Well now, this is a smaller display that I hope will be quite effective. I had always been very fond of the cauldron figure in this bunch, but at first I had no clue how I was going to use it. It is out of a set of figures produced by Grenadier Models in 1980 from their Advanced Dungeons & Dragons line, model number 2009, Wizard's Room. Grenadier was launched in Pennsylvania in 1975 by Andrew Chernak and Ray Rubin. They acquired the license to produce Advanced Dungeons & Dragons figures from TSR in 1980, and that's where the cauldron came from, as sculpted by Mr. Chernak. In 1983, they produced Dragon Lords, and many of the models were sculpted by one of my favorite industry artists, John Dennett. He is responsible for the stone circle I may use in this presentation. I haven't completely decided that part yet. I am certain we will be returning to Mr. Dennett in a future episode. So I have this really cool cauldron. What am I going to do with it? One day while I was moving some figures around, putting things away, I looked down on my desk and there was the cauldron lying next to a Ral Partha AD&D figure, an Elminster wizard. That's when the idea struck me. What if a wizard died but his compatriots still needed or wanted to get in contact with him? Perhaps even just to continue a friendly tradition. Now, I'm not going to get too far into the founding of Ral Partha just yet, except to acknowledge that the company is probably the second most loved and known manufacturer of RPG figures for old hammer enthusiasts, only surpassed by Citadel itself. Partha gained the rights to produce Advanced Dungeons & Dragons in 1987. Catalog number 11057, Elminster the Wizard, is from this line and was sculpted by Dennis Mize. I know some purists will be upset, as Elminster is a particular character with his own lore, and for this presentation, I'm going to ignore all that and simply paint the piece the way I wish to, not to depict the character. Now, as far as I know, these AD&D figures are no longer available because of licensing, but the vast majority of classic Ral Partha figures can still be purchased through the new company today, and I will include their site address in the description below. So I now have a wizard and his conjured companion. How can I complete this? The thought occurred to me that maybe they've traveled to a specific location to meet every year. Also, another subject would balance the composition out better. There was an old twisted tree in my bits box that looked like it would fit in nicely, and a stone circle from a Grenadier Fantasy Lords demon set I mentioned earlier. Now I needed to find a suitable third wizard to complete the scene. That would come out of curiosity, as I was familiar with Mithril miniatures and decided one day to look up the manufacturer and discover whether they produced other figures and what they looked like. On my side of the ocean, most miniature enthusiasts are familiar with Mithril, Irish Lord of the Rings figures, but not much beyond that, really. The military diorama builders were more acquainted because the parent company also supplies molds and casting equipment, so you can make your own models at home, making filling a battlefield much more doable. Prince August was founded in Sweden in 1958 and moved to Ireland in 1975. They also produced a number of figure lines, and in their Fantasy Armies line, I found catalog number CH35, Druid, sculpted by Chris Tubbs and released in 1984. Right away I thought this is exactly the guy to complete my scene. Here's the whole composition again. I'm going to call it Old Friends. And I am still uncertain if I will still use the stone circle because there is a book and candles on it. I'm not sure how well those would do next to a fire. As previously mentioned, Ral Partha figures are still available today, as are Grenadier miniatures, and Prince August is still in business. You can find all of their current sites in the description below. That concludes this episode of My Horde of Hobbies. I hope it has been entertaining and informative. If you have enjoyed the content and want to see more, please give a like or subscribe, or you can send me a coffee through the donation link in my channel page, and have yourself a wonderful day.